Hola, som la Júlia, la Maria i en Roger i avui venim a fer una entrevista de perfils a la Júlia Ball.
Hi!
On vas néixer?
Where am I from?
Yes.
I'm from the United States, from Seattle on the West Coast.
Com era la teva família?
How is my family? They're very nice. I have a mother, a father, and a brother. I don't like my brother. He's not very nice. My family, like I know here, families are very close, and family is very important to people here culturally. But in the United States, it's a little different. So I didn't see my family super often when I lived there. And so it's kind of normal that I don't see them much now.
Per què vas voler vindre cap aquí?
Why did I come to Tona?
Yes.
Because I wanted to experience life outside the United States. In the United States, it's really easy to live in like a bubble. We're like, America, number one. And I thought, really? And I was curious about living in other parts of the world and experiencing another culture. And so I applied to teach English in another place. And Spain was the first place that I got a job. And they told me Tona. So I was like, okay, looks fine. I Googled it and I saw that there were like ancient ruins in Tona. And I was like, oh, there's ruins. Seattle, the city of Seattle is only like 175 years old. So the fact that there were like Roman ruins in Tona, I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. And so I came to Tona and I've stayed for 3 years. Who knew?
Et vas adaptar bé aquí, Tona?
Do I like Tona? Or has things been good in Tona?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, things are good. I've been working at the Institute for 3 years. I have a roommate. My roommate let me bring my cat, so my cat is here from the United States. I love my cat. I take the train most weekends into Barcelona to meet with other people that I can hang out with and speak with. I go to Vic. I also work 1 day a week in Vic. So the more I know people and the more connections I make socially, the better life is. When I first moved here, I was living with families, and that was a little bit difficult just because being a full adult, like entering someone's family is a little weird, strange. So I'm glad that I live with a roommate, and his family has kind of adopted me. So like I spent Christmas, the last 2 Christmases with his family, and they bought me presents and we did the TO and it was fun.
They felt about you?
My family? At first my mom did not like it. My dad was really excited for me. He's like, oh, Julie, you're gonna have an experience that I've never had before. That's so cool. And my mom was like, where are you gonna live? You don't speak the language. How will you survive? But in time, they've both become very supportive. They helped me bring my cat here. They took care of my cat for the first year when I was with host families. So they've been very supportive and helpful. And actually, 2 summers ago, I met my mom in Ireland and spent 2 weeks with her in Ireland. And last summer, my dad came and we spent 3 weeks traveling Europe, visiting different historical places. So I've seen them a little. It's just nice.
Algun dia t'agradaria tornar cap allà a viure?
Am I going to return to the United States?
Yes.
I don't know. Right now, with the political situation, I'd like to stay here. Also, I feel like I'm healthier here. The food is healthier. I walk more. The things that I miss about the United States are my friends and the nature. And in time, especially the more I learn Catalan and the more time I spend here, I can make friends here. And there's nature here. Versus like things in the United States that, or things that I like about Spain that I don't have in the United States are like healthcare, less guns, less gun violence, and again, the healthy food and the lifestyle. And I can't get those in the United States. So it's one of those things that what I miss from the United States, I can have in Spain in time. What I like about Spain, I can't have in the United States. So it kind of feels like staying here makes the most sense.
T'agrada la feina que has trobat aquí o t'agradaria haver fet alguna altra cosa?
Do I like the job I have here?
Yes.
Yes, I really enjoy teaching English. It's funny because the longer I am here, the more I know other English teachers, and a lot of people like to work with adults or little children. And so it seems like the fact that I like to work with teens is a little strange, but I feel like I understand. I remember so well being a teenager and how much you feel and desire and want to be independent, but yet you still have to go to school every day. You still have to do your homework. And it's just, I don't know. I remember that feeling. And so I think it's nice that I am comfortable and I enjoy the work that I do and speaking with the students at the high school. I also, when I lived in the United States, I worked in accounting. So I sat at a desk all day working on spreadsheets in an office. And so working with kids, teaching English, I feel like my job is more fulfilling. There's more satisfaction. And especially now that I've been here teaching at the same school for 3 years, I've known you guys since you were in first ASO. And so I've seen your English improve from first ASO to fourth ASO. And that's been really cool to see. I didn't see that working in accounting. So, yeah.
És molt diferent la gent d'aquí que la d'allà.
The people are very different here. In general, there are some differences. People are louder here. For example, on trains and buses, in the US, if you get a phone call, you're like, I'm on the train or I'm on the bus, and then you hang up and then you call them back later. But here, people have full-on speakerphone conversations on the train. So that's different. And there's a lot of parties and large gatherings of people. My roommate has invited me out to dinner with him and his friends, and it's 10 people all sitting together and everyone's talking in every direction. And I get a little overwhelmed. I'm like, everyone's talking. Versus in the United States, if you go to a gathering of 10 people, it's you talk to the people right next to you and you're not shouting across the table. And so it's different. And I mentioned the family earlier too. Everyone's much closer with their families here than in the United States. So I think those are the main differences. But in general, most people are very nice.
Vas molt sovint allà a visitar els teus pares?
Do I go to visit my parents?
Yes.
I have been back to the United States once. And that was mostly to bring back my cat. But I would love to go again, but being a teacher, the only times I get off work are the times that everybody gets off work, like Christmas and the summer, and that's when the plane tickets are the most expensive, and especially going all the way to the West Coast, it's very expensive to go home. So the last 2 years, it's actually been easier and more fun for my parents for them to come to Europe and visit me.
Què en penses de la política que hi ha als Estats Units ara mateix?
Oof. What do I think about politics in the United States? How much time do we have? Right now, it's not great, personally, my opinion. It's been interesting to see how things are happening right now. It's definitely different. I do a lesson sometimes with more advanced students about, I show them my ballot from the United States and show them that we vote for the governor of the state, which is like the head of the state, and the secretary of the state, and the superintendent of public, like we vote for individual people for every position, which is very different from here. I remember being very excited when my roommate voted, and I was like, how do you vote? And he's like, we just pick a paper and then we put it in a box, because you guys vote for parties, not people. So it's been interesting to see that, and then also explain like the U.S. system to people here. Even earlier today, I was with bachillerato students, and so they didn't know how many states were in the United States. And I was like, oh, like I don't expect everyone to know all the states, but the number, it's 50, but I don't know, I guess. But then again, students also ask me, like, is it true that Americans think Spain is in Mexico? And I'm like, well, I knew Spain wasn't in Mexico, and I'm American, but that doesn't mean all Americans know that. So you never know. But yeah, in general, politics in the United States, for me right now, it's scary. I'm really worried about the direction the U.S. political system is going right now. And it's another reason why I'd like to stay here. There's a GIF, or GIF, however people pronounce it, where it's like a dog sitting in a burning house, and it's like, this is fine, everything's fine, but like everything is burning around them. And I'm like, this was me during the first Trump presidency, was like, I felt like I was inside a burning house, just having to be like, everything's fine, this is fine, and now I'm outside the house. I'm still watching it burn, but I'm not in the house now. I'm in Spain. So it's a little bit easier to kind of feel like there's distance between me and the political chaos in the United States.
I com portes el català?
Jo puc parlar una mica. Jo tinc classes de català en línia i és A2, poc a poc.
Hi ha hagut algun moment on t'hagis sentit que venies d'un altre lloc i que la gent no t'hagués tractat molt bé aquí, els catalans?
Like, are Catalan people very closed? I find this very interesting because Seattle is actually kind of known for being a very closed city socially. There's something called the Seattle freeze, where new people arrive to Seattle and they find it difficult to make friends. And so for me, like, people being closed is normal. So if people were super open, I feel like I would be a little like, why are you inviting me into your house? Like, it feels more normal. And so I think that's one reason why I've stayed in Catalonia and in Arizona especially, because people here feel more familiar to me as far as like being closed, and I understand why people are closed. Especially, it's one reason why I am learning more Catalan than Spanish. You know, I've been doing Duolingo with Spanish for about 3 years now. But I'm taking Catalan classes because I live in a place where people speak Catalan. And if I want to get to know the people here, I understand I need to learn the language. And to some extent, I mean, I grew up with very conservative parents that thought, if you move to the United States, you need to speak English. And so if people spoke a language that wasn't English to my parents, they'd be like, you live here, you should speak English. And so I kind of grew up with that idea too, of like, if you live here, you speak the language of here. And I live in Catalonia, so I should speak Catalan. And jo prefereixo català perquè és una mica més similar al francès i m'agrada francès, però no m'agrada castellà. No sé per què.
Quin és l'origen de la teva família?
Well, I think it's funny when people tell me that I look American, because I'm like, that's funny, because my mom's side of the family is Irish, from Ireland, and my dad's side of the family is from Holland, Dutch. So I really look more Northern European than American, whatever that means. So on my mom's side, in around the 1850s, there was a potato famine in Ireland, and my great-great-grandfather, Daniel Patrick Mahoney, when he was around 10, took a boat to the United States to try to survive because he couldn't live in Ireland anymore. And my dad's side of the family, I know less about the reasons why they went to the United States, but I do know that my grandmother was first generation. So my grandmother's parents, my great-grandparents, came from the Netherlands to the United States. So my grandmother spoke Dutch. She knew how to speak the language of Holland. And so my parents, both sides of the family, were relatively recent immigrants to the United States. They haven't been there since, the Civil War even. It's all been later. I guess the Civil War was in the 1860s. Yeah, so anyway. None of my family owned slaves. That's what I'm happy about.
One thing that you could say to people that wants to move to here?
To Spain? Spain or Catalonia specifically?
Catalonia.
Catalonia. I would say come with an open mind, and just be open. Just be open to the experience. I've met some people, Americans or British people, that come here and they're like, I wanted to practice Spanish, but I'm in Catalonia and they don't really speak Spanish here. And I'm like, yeah, but who cares? Like, learn Catalan then. I don't know. I didn't come here to practice Spanish. I came here to experience something different from the United States. And so for me, I just came with a lot of naivete and an open mind and was like, let's see what happens. And it's worked out pretty well so far. So I think I would give that advice to someone. I would just say, like, come with an open mind and don't, when I told some people that I was coming to live in Spain, they're like, oh, you gotta eat tapas. And I realize now, like, tapas aren't even from Catalonia. There's a lot of ignorance in the United States about Spain as a country and the different cultures inside Spain. So I think the best thing is to come knowing that you don't know everything and to just be open to learning new things.
Moltes gràcies, Juli i Perfils, per fer possible aquesta entrevista.
Oh, de res. És el meu pleasure. I don't know. It's my pleasure.